How's it going, guys? Got the third ever episode here on Crimson Coverage, and we got a very special guest tonight. We got 2026 four-star quarterback, dual threat quarterback, dual sport athlete, Elite 11 finalist. We got Jett Thomalla, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good.
So, first off, I want to start it off, by discussing your kind of recruitment. Originally you were committed to Iowa State early on. Grew up in that kind of Midwest area. Was there a school like prior to you being recruited by anybody? Was there a school that you rooted for? Growing up, or a school that you kind of aspired to play for?
I was, growing up in Nebraska, you're kind of always going to be a Nebraska fan, usually, I'd say. So my dad was always a big Nebraska fan. So growing up, I would always watch them. I guess I could say I wanted to play for them when I was younger, but, growing up kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, that's understandable, man. Like you say, growing up in that state, probably because I'm assuming your high school's in Omaha, so that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. But just speaking of Millard South, man, you guys were able to win, the first ever state championship in the last 15 years.
hmm
You passed for over 3,000 yards, 47 touchdowns. But I put it here. Perhaps the most impressive thing is the fact that you only threw 3 interceptions. So, kind of just talk a little about that, and how did it feel to be able to bring a state championship home, so to speak, man?
Yeah, we had a super, special team last year, coaches, players, all that stuff, and yeah, I took good care of the ball. So did the rest of the team. So yeah, we had a great season last year and really capitalized on that state championship win, and hopefully we can do it again next year.
Yeah, man, definitely looking forward to watching you,
Yep.
during your senior season. I actually came across some highlights. I'm sure a lot of Alabama fans have seen them,
Mhm.
of you playing basketball, man. So,
Yeah.
so I got to ask you, okay, so did you grow up really loving like one of the two, either basketball or football? Did you like both? Um,
Yeah. I've always been a quarterback growing up, so I could always throw it pretty well. And I feel like when I was younger, maybe I was a little better at basketball, but that obviously changed.
let's see. Uh, all right, you got a little bit of a technical difficulty. Not sure what just happened. Let's see if we can get Jet back. You there? You there? Yeah. There you go.
Hold up.
Can you hear me? Anywho, this is a guy, just to give you a scouting report, of Jet, a guy that Alabama's coaching staff really liked. Over the course of the last few months, he was Alabama's top target at the quarterback position. Plays there at Millard South High School, up there in Omaha, Nebraska. Like he said, grew up a Nebraska fan, was originally committed to Iowa State, but Alabama, they put on their recruiting shoes and went to work. And, ultimately they were able to secure a commitment from one of the top quarterbacks in the country, here in Jett Thomalla. So, yeah, he's got a prolific arm. He's a guy, honestly, watching his film, he looks like a little bit of a more elusive Mac Jones. That's kind of who I would compare him to. But yeah, I really like his game, and looks like we got you back, man. I
Yeah.
don't I don't
I
know
got a
what
I
happened,
got a
man.
phone call and it just kicked me off, so that kind of sucked. But
There you go. I understand, man. It happens, but I also wanted to ask you, going back to that basketball thing,
yeah.
as far as player comps, did you have anybody like you wanted to aspire to play like, whether it be in basketball as well as football, growing up?
I kind of just I really just watched everyone. I never really had like a main guy to focus on. I always liked Steph Curry, even though I can never shoot. That was kind of my downside in basketball. But I feel like Joe Burrow is my favorite quarterback now, so kind of look up to him in a way, like just the stuff he does on and off the field. So
Yeah, and honestly, I compared you to Mac Jones a little bit. I
Mhm.
see similar throwing mechanics, but now that you say it, you kind of do look a little bit more like Joe Burrow. Especially with your stature, the way you
Mhm.
move around, and Joe is a little bit more mobile,
Yeah.
than Mac Jones. But I also, thought it'd be good to ask you when football was really like the sport you knew you wanted to play in college? Like when, like, was it during high school? Was it during middle school? When did you really know that like football was your passion and a sport that you would want to play at the college level?
I'd probably say around my sophomore year, once I started putting up some numbers, I had a decent season my sophomore year. So I kind of say that's when I realized that I could play at the next level. I never really thought I could be this big. Going to Alabama, it's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, I'd say sophomore year, and then I started getting offers after my junior year. So it was a long time grinding and reaching for that goal. I always had that goal to get a D1 offer and go play D1, and yeah, it came. So I'm blessed for it.
Yeah, and I know Alabama fans are happy to have you. There was kind of that that big lingering question mark. And you might have heard this, yourself at the quarterback position because obviously last year you bring in a guy like 5-star Keelan Russell,
Mhm.
bring him into the fold. Speaking of Keelan and guys like Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, have you been able to like have any conversations with them? Have they been able to give you kind of some advice, as far as when you're able to make it to campus and enroll?
I talked to Austin the most. Probably he kind of took me around when I was down there on my unofficial, but yeah, I talked to all of them a little bit, and they were really cool. I mean, they didn't really give me any advice or anything like that. I'll probably get some more of that on my official visit. So that'll be fun.
Do you have a date in mind for a potential official visit?
Yeah, I'm gonna go during the Tennessee game.
Tennessee game, man. I've heard a lot of kids wanting to go to that Tennessee game. It seems like
Yeah,
it's going to be a big one.
yeah,
And despite the fact that you live in Nebraska, I'm sure you know how intense that rivalry is.
yeah.
And so it'll definitely be a good game. There. But earlier today I interviewed a guy I'm sure you're familiar with because I saw you on Instagram Live when he actually
Mhm.
announced his commitment. But Bear Fretwell.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to ask you what it was like to, um, you know, you know him as far as from a personal level and being able to play with him as well as like EJ Crowell, Sedarian Morgan, like how are you guys getting along, and keeping that line of communication?
Yeah, so we have like a group chat, Instagram group chat, Snapchat group chat. So we talk in there a bunch. Already planning to go to like games and stuff like that. I mean, just talking about how their high school football teams are. But I recruited Bear once he was committed to Georgia Tech. Coach Sheridan told me to reach out to him and talk to him about flipping. So we kind of built a good we built a good relationship off that. And then once he committed, I knew it would go from there. So yeah, he's a really cool guy and a really good player. So I'm excited about him and excited about the rest of the class too. Top 5 class in the country. So I mean that speaks for itself. So really excited about all those guys.
Definitely. You said it, as best as possible. Top 5 class, Coach DeBoer's second year. Guys like yourself, I mean, you're out here recruiting Bear Fretwell, I know some of the other recruits, EJ was on Sedarian and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's awesome to see, man, just the brotherhood that you guys have. Obviously wanted to ask you about it. But that's something that you can definitely see, from a fan's perspective and something that the media can definitely see out there as well. You were able to compete in the Elite 11. The year before you, Keelan went and won the Elite 11. I've heard it's a great experience. What was it kind of like to be able to compete against some of the best players in the country, as well as receive mentoring from different coaches and just spending time with these high school quarterbacks?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I committed the same morning the check-in was. I flipped that day, so leading up to that day, I had a lot of stress built up on me. So it was good to talk to all those other kids my age that were committed to other places or not committed yet. But we've all been through the same process, so it was kind of good. It released some stress just talking to them. Um, they've been through the same stuff as me, like I said. So, but yeah, I felt like I learned a lot, and yeah, it was just a really good experience all around. I feel like I came out of it a way better quarterback than I was before. So yeah, it's a crazy experience for sure.
No, you said it, 100% right. A good experience, being able to go out there on the West Coast and learn from some of the best, compete against some of the best. Personally, what are some of like your individual goals for this upcoming season? Where does Millard South go from now? A two-peat potentially. Like, what are some of the awards or accolades or even, areas that you want to work on this year?
Yeah, so I just say team goals first. Win a state championship, have an undefeated record, all the other stuff based off the team. But I have some state records that I could possibly um, you know, win or beat, whatever you want to say. But that's like the passing yards for career, touchdowns for career. So that'll be really cool to just um, have my name in those records. That'd be a really cool thing, and hopefully they can stay there for a while. But the main goal is to just be dominant and win a state championship, and then if I play well enough, those records and accolades should come. So.
No, definitely. I and a lot of other Alabama fans, really look forward to following you this season. Heck, there might even, how passionate Alabama's fan base is. Some people might even make the trip to Omaha to watch you play, brother.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that'd be crazy.
it'll be interesting, man. I know Alabama fans are happy to have you. I'm stoked to have you. I'm glad you were able to join the show tonight. Um, you know, what trying to think, what are some of the things that you kind of want to like work on the most before you get on campus? What are like some of the things that you're or people you're training with, in order to prepare, for playing at the next level?
Yeah, I kind of just want to grow as like a leader and just my mind in the game, film, all that stuff, knowing coverages. The game's going to speed up so much when I get to Alabama, and I can't really simulate that here in Nebraska just because I don't have the players to play against to do that. So,
Yep.
there's stuff I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn so much when I get there, and yeah, I'm gonna start learning this year. But yeah, when I get there, I feel like it's gonna be pretty crazy just how different the game is playing against those, 5-star corners or safeties. Just how much quicker I'm gonna have to be with everything, and I'm gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna make me a lot better player. So.
No, the speed, the speed of the game is definitely different, and kind of like you alluded to, seeing these 5-star corners, these 5-star safeties, just these guys on defense that are straight dogs, and
Mm,
that, going in, committing to Alabama, what you're getting
yeah.
at Alabama every day in practice, what you're getting in the SEC, the type of coaching you're getting. I also wanted to ask you, what is your relationship like with like Coach Sheridan? Do y'all talk regularly? Also, like what have your conversations been like? Whether they be brief or elaborated. With Coach DeVore.
Yeah, me and Sheridan have a really good relationship. Even like not even being able to build it for a long time. I feel like after a week we had a really good relationship. Because I got the offer a little later when I was already committed. So it shows a lot that I flipped just because I had such a good relationship and we built that relationship so fast with Coach Sheridan. He's a really cool guy. And just talking to him, drawing up plays, watching plays, all that stuff, you can tell how good of a coach he is too. And you feel like he's my type of coach. So it's really good. And then Coach DeBoer, I feel like head coaches don't usually like text as much, but when I was down there, you could just feel the comfort from him. Also, he's been a quarterback coach. He's been an OC, so just having that extra support from him will be really nice.
Yeah, you said it best. With Coach DeBoer and Sheridan, they're two offensive-minded guys. And you've been able to develop that relationship. Obviously with Coach Sheridan. So that's definitely something very valuable, especially for you going into your senior season. Being able to get advice from him, maybe even like you said, advice from guys like Austin Mack, and kind of implement that into your game. Moving forward. But I definitely appreciate you. Like I said, Jett,
Yep.
if anybody has any questions, be sure to, put them in the comment section. But, just wanted to promote, Crimson coverage on all platforms here. Just started on TikTok, got X, got YouTube, and got Facebook as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed the live. Like I said, definitely appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. I appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you guys again next time. As far as you, Jett, tell the Alabama fans, where they can find you on social media, like how to keep track of you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it'll just be Jett Thomalla, JettThomala, pretty much everywhere. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, roll tide.
Yep. See you.
See you.